Hello there and welcome along. The Gardener Ben here with your next rose review. The rose next to me, quite famous across the world already and will need very little introduction. Launched and introduced by David Austin Roses, the only release for 2024. This is the Emma Bridgewater rose. Now, this particular rose was launched by myself as an internet exclusive in May 2024 as it was unveiled at the Chelsea Flower Show. And since then, as with all new releases, it's been going through my personal review process here in the garden. And I have to confess that this particular rose has kept me awake for night after night after night. And I've been getting myself really quite worked up and very stressed about today's review. But at the end of the day, all I can give you is my growing experience and the 365 days worth of observations that I've been making. And this is a really difficult one to tackle. Emma Bridgewater by David Austin Roses is a shrub rose reaching around 4 feet by 4 feet, bolt upright and very proud in its growth habit. You can see it produces quite large and woody stems which hold the flowers upright, which then actually nod on top of it like this. Very much similar to a species rose, this particular rose is packed full of charm, character and fragrance and opens a kaleidoscope of many different colours. You can see this particular flower here, a lovely coral, deep coral pink, really very interesting and packed full of hundreds and hundreds of petals. Slowly but surely the flower ages to a lovely antique dusty pink with those characteristic silver grey platinum hues to the flower as it ages. This particular rose, there is no doubt about it, when it came out of the box with David Austin this time last year, looked absolutely impeccable. And unfortunately, that's where it really ended. And I've been going backwards and forwards to this rose for the last year to making my personal observations. And this particular rose did very little after its initial flush of flowers, which I was really quite disappointed with, to the point where the garden was actually open to the public in June 2024. And we had quite a queue of people turn up to look at this particular rose, and they were all very disappointed to find a pot full of sticks that was very manky and a little bit yellow around the edges. It defoliated itself twice last year alone, making it quite difficult to regain any media on over the rest of the season. I was so confused and a little bit concerned by the particular rose that I contacted David Austin myself personally over the Christmas period and asked them to replace the rose, which they actually refused to do. So the particular review will be done on the rose in front of me as it stands now. There's no doubt about it is absolutely beautiful and it produces a really large display of flowers. But this particular rose, say, defoliated itself to the point where it was simply just sticks last year alone, meaning its disease resistance wasn't quite up to par. Full disclosure, much like Bathsheba, much like my personal review on Darcy Bustle, and one or two of the other roses that have brought me into a sweat with the David Austin collections, I can only bring you my personal observations. There's no doubt about it that Emma Bridgewater looks absolutely fabulous now, but I've also gone back to my camera roll with this particular rose to make sure that I'm bringing you a really nice and well-balanced opinion of it. And simply after its initial flowering in late June, there was no other flowers on this particular plant at all. It went straight into this large square lead mock planter. It's got loads and loads of soil in it. It went into my normal mix of 75% John Innings and 25% soil conditioner. It's been treated the same as my other roses, but I say completely defoliated itself twice. It then threw loads of canes during the winter, and by throw I mean they died and completely died off. If you want to go back and have a look at my pruning tutorials for young roses, this is the rose that I used in that particular pruning tutorial. You can see me remove about 4 or 5 dead stems from that particular rose. It was very unusual indeed. So whether I've got a particularly duff one or whether this particular variety is not as strong as we had first thought, this is Emma Bridgewater from David Austin Roses, capable of producing a really nice first flush of flowers. I'm going to continue my observations with this particular rose over the next coming weeks and months, and I'm more than happy to enter a conversation in the comment section below from people that may have a different opinion on this particular rose. But I say there are no pictures taken, no media created, and myself getting a little bit cagey when people are asking me about this one over the last 12 months, because I say I'm still not made up on a particular opinion on this particular rose. Buds open from a tomato pink. They say they flush out to this heavy coral color, which is particularly nice. I'm not particularly keen on the nodding of this particular plant. I say stems hold bolt upright with the flowers nodding at the top. It is quite tall, about 4 feet it's coming up to in height wise. Also, the thorn count on this particular rose is absolutely deadly. So with myself, during my full personal review this year, this one is going to be ranked with a very high thorn count. They are multiple. I mean, this stem's not particularly bad. The other stems here, I mean, I can't bring you any more, but they are absolutely laced with barbs. The foliage is of a mid-green colour. Ouch, it's biting me even now. The foliage is a mid-green colour, quite flat in its appearance with very little sheen. There is a small amount of barbing to the very back of the leaf axil as well, making it quite difficult to handle. Fragrance-wise, this one actually packs much more punch than David Austin initially launched it with. It is well-bodied, it is fruity, citrusy in its notes, with notes of tropical fruits like pineapple and mango and sherbet lemons. It really is beautiful. So I'm still standing by my 9-star for my fragrance rating on this one, but disease resistance rating, I'm very sorry to say that I will amend this if the plant improves. Obviously the plant is young and I want to be fully respectable with this particular one and fully well-rounded. Modern day composts don't hold water particularly well. This one obviously supplied by David Austin in a peat-free compost, and obviously quite large, especially when it came in the box. That could have been enough to stress it out for the rest of the season. But disease resistance wise, I'm going to be scoring this a very, very sorry 3 out of 10 stars for disease resistance. And I'd like to continue the conversation with this particular rose over the next few months and weeks. So please do comment in the section below if you've got a different or the same opinion of the Emma Bridgewater rose. But this one I'll continue to make my personal observations on, and I might actually amend this video another time. But Emma Bridgewater from David Austin Roses, reaching around 4 feet in height, producing one large flush of these beautiful deep coral pink flowers, which flush out this lovely dusty antique pink. But I say, in my opinion, really lacking on the disease resistance on this particular rose. So concerned was I that I reached out to David Austin and they wanted me to keep this particular specimen, which I've done. As you can see, producing a really nice display for a rose that's only 1 year old. But we shall see what it does over the next couple of months and see whether this plant completely defoliates itself, gets overly stressed and succumbs to the black spot mould and mildew that it had last year. And we will continue the conversation. But for now, this is the Emma Bridgewater rose from David Austin Roses, scoring 9 for fragrance rating, 3 for disease resistance, and now getting a very high thorn count with myself. I'll see you all again soon. Take good care now. Bye bye.